The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
What's that quote, Trevor? That good old Canadian quote, okay? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Did I say that right? Boom, bam. Gary Bettman, a Vancouver Canuck. What?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Look at that. Gary Bettman trying to help the Canucks out and then reversing course and denying any help to the Vancouver Canucks. Let's get into that here on Locked On Canucks. I'm Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we get into it on this hump day here, we got to get paid, baby, and we got to shout out FanDuel, okay? You can start the season with the big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Gary Bettman trying to do the Canucks a solid, and then deciding that he didn't want to do the Canucks a solid after all. Let's get into it with my co-host Kyle Bhawan, and let's talk about it. The potential salary cap increase for the Vancouver Canucks, okay? We'll talk about that and then what it might mean. Again, if the salary cap does increase dramatically, what does it mean for the Canucks on the trade market? And then at the end of the day, what is their next move here on the trade market? Because, Kyle, you and I have been watching the games. It's been up and down. I think the Canucks might be making a move sooner rather than later, and I think that you feel the same way.
I think I do, based on that phone call you gave me at 10 o'clock in the morning. Or was it I that called you? Well, one or the other. But you thought about the fact that, you know, we're getting closer and closer and closer to confirming the fact that the salary cap is going to go way, way, way up. And could Alvin look at this information and look at, you know, taking more chances based on being able to carry more salary going into next season, right? You never know. You never know. And again, I like to think that all the people watching this, they're intelligent hockey fans. Okay, it's pretty obvious that this decor is not gonna get better with this personnel. Okay, with the deployment of minutes that are needed in a 60-minute game. You don't want to run Quinn Hughes to the ground way too early, or Philip Roenick for that matter. But man, oh man, if there's not changes, it's going to be hard, man. It's going to be difficult. And I don't know if the Canucks want to get themselves into a little bit of a hole, you know? A lot of question marks still in the air for this team. Like, when's Besser, when's Miller coming back? Boom, bam. How's Demko going to look when he comes back? So, yeah, a trade is coming.
A trade is coming, and I think in terms of the trade the Canucks make, I mean, my inclination has been that the Canucks would probably prefer to get someone with not a lot of term, right? And look, we talked about the top defensemen out there on the market, right? You know, Rasmus Andersson and Marcus Pettersson are kind of the two guys that stand out in terms of guys who don't have a lot of term left. But other guys like Colter Parenko, Mackenzie Weegar, Ryan Pullock, even Chris Letang, who we've discussed recently, they all have a significant amount of term attached to their contract. And for a team like the Vancouver Canucks, who honestly is about to go into a bit of cap hell here, especially going into next season, you know, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is going to cost $4.76 million on the books. Ilya Mikheyev is going to cost another $712,000. The Canucks have almost $5.5 million in dead money going into next season. They're lucky that they have Quinn Hughes and Thatcher Demko still in sweetheart deals, but obviously Brock Besser is going to need a raise as well. So, and the Canucks are already capped out. So it's not a pretty situation going into next season, and that's the main reason why I think the Canucks would prefer to get a defenseman, or it's easier at least to get a defense that doesn't have a lot of term. Now, that being said, what if you didn't hear it on the weekend? Basically, the report from Elliot Friedman. And Elliot Friedman, man, always stirring the pot, man. Unbelievable. Elliot Friedman reported on Hockey Night in Canada that the NHL salary cap could increase up to $95 to $97 million. It's only at $88.5 million right now. So the projected increase in terms of revenue is going to be $92.5 million. So that would be a massive jump, right? And we saw the first massive jump at some time last season when it went to up from 83.5 to 88.5. So something like that. It was a good $4 to $5 million jump. This would be almost a $10 million jump. So that would be a bit out of the ordinary, but it would be doing the Canucks a big solid if they did it. And I think if the salary cap did increase to that amount, it would allow them to potentially get another defenseman with term if they thought that was the guy that could help them out long term. Now, I'll kind of wrap it up by saying that Gary Bettman came out recently and basically denied the report from Elliot Friedman saying that the numbers weren't very accurate. Any change would require an agreement between them and the NHLPA, and that the figure was way preliminary. So Gary Bettman trying to poo-poo on the happiness of Canuck fans and happiness of fans across the NHL, because that's what Gary Bettman likes to do. But Kyle, tell me I'm wrong here. Would a salary cap increase would it allow the Canucks to target a guy with term, or do you still think they prefer to get a guy with maybe 1 or 2 years left of his contract?
I mean, it's Rutherford and Albino. They like to do the unorthodox, and they're Rutherford and Albino. They gave up a lot of assets for UFAs, right? Already early in the tenure of this team opening up their window. So that leads me to believe that, again, if they get word that because they get the emails first, not Elliot Friedman, like they know the information, they know the data, they know what's coming. If they have any guarantee on that through, again, their intelligence team, I feel as if I would not be surprised at all if they go after a guy with some term, a guy that's out of left field. And bro, the market right now it's not even that sexy for the guys that are available now. Again, we talk a lot of ish about Elliot Friedman. We do the same with Frank Saravelli too. Okay, for real. Frank Saravelli and Kyle Bhawan at a bar. I don't know, man. That's not Trevor Beggs. I may need to call you. Okay, for real. Okay, Saravelli. Okay, look at his last name. Look at my last name. Okay, for real. Anyways, okay. He's talking about Mike Matheson, a guy that does have some term as well, and Montreal does suck. They're really out of it, So, dude, you never know.
Yeah, it's again, there's gonna be more options that open up here as time goes on. And Kyle, maybe on an episode tomorrow or in the near future, we'll maybe even rank the top targets here. But I do think the salary cap goes up $4 million. I think that allows the Canucks to absorb the buyout penalties that they've been endured, and the Brock Besser contract, and probably not much else. And if you believe this team, needs to get better on defense, something else is going to have to give here. Now, at the end of the day, and maybe we'll get into a big picture here. Even if the salary cap goes up and the Canucks can afford guys with more term, they are going to have to move guys out the door this season to afford that cap space. And we talk about potentially making a trade the next week or two because that's what Alvin and Rutherford like to do. But the current cap space of this team is still under $1 million. They could accumulate cap space more and more daily as time goes on here. But right now they have less than $1 million in cap space. So if they're going to acquire a defenseman with term right now, who's going out the door, or does it have to be side retention from the other side?
Damn, why'd you have to get so dark here, man? Now it's talking about the immediate fix being, mission impossible by the sounds of it. Because I think, weeks and weeks and weeks ago when, Miller was still in the lineup and Besser was still in the lineup, we're talking about the need for a change back there with our decor. And I know we're grasping at straws, but we were really considering there's a lot of forwards here. You might be able to afford to get rid of Pew Suter. You know what I'm saying? Or chunks out of your salary cap and moves like that. Getting a good player out. And if you move Höglander, I mean, that's only $1 million, right? Or whatever the number is. It's I don't know, man. Now you can't afford to even do those moves, right? You can't. You know what's ironic about this? You want to tie in the whole that Gary Bettman or is Gary Bettman going to help the Vancouver Canucks out with all this money, coming our way? It wasn't too long ago where people were talking about how the Canucks would need to, possibly move off of Garland to sign Besser. Get rid of that money. And Garland is playing way above his value right now. Straight up. He is. He may not be point per game yet, but I'm talking shift in and shift out. He is so exciting. He's so, he's worth the price of admission. He's a fun guy right now and doing his thing. And you're not moving off of that to make more room on this team to fix the decor. You can't. So yeah, I guess the options are slim until next year. Is that what you're saying, Trevor? Come on, man.
I'm not saying that. I'm just I'm more spitballing. If the Canucks are going to add a defenseman, names we've thrown out: Colton Parayko, Ryan Pulock, Chris Letang are all making around $5-6 million. So maybe you get the other team to retain $1 million or $2 million, but this is still a Canucks team. If they make a trade before the end of the 2024 and add guys early like they've done in the past, they're gonna have to move out more than Nils Höglander in terms of roster players. So, it's funny because my head first went to if they get another right shot D, could they trade Tyler Myers? But this management team gave Tyler Myers a no movement clause for the first 2 years of his deal here. So he ain't going anywhere, okay? So that leaves guys okay, if I look at other trade chips on the roster, guys who may move out the door, obviously Nils Höglander is kind of the prime chip. But again, that $1.1 million cap hit, you're going to have to clear more. Yeah. I look at guys like potentially Danton Heinen. Okay, I think that Danton Heinen, not to say he's been bad, but you look at some of the other additions the Canucks have made recently, like Kiefer Sherwood, Pius Suter, they've been more impactful. Teddy Bluger's been more impactful. I'm not moving off Dak or Garland or Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk also has no movement clause for the first couple of years of the contract. So to me, Danton Heinen is kind of a guy that stands out, and he's making $2.25 million.
Yeah.
I look at the defense as well. Again, Tyler Myers ain't going anywhere, but Vinny D, if someone could take on that, I mean, there might be some hockey guys that might want that. Aside from that, I do wonder if Carson Soucy, he's also got a no trade clause though. So again, man, is this the Jim Benning era Canucks? What's all these no trade no move clauses, man? Unbelievable. No, I'm not gonna go that.
It's gonna get dark, right? It's gonna get dark because I gotta say it, man. Like you couldn't get Vincent Desharnais for like 1.125 or something, you know? Like what was the $2 million? 2 years, $2 million per. Who's giving him that? Nobody, dude. Nobody. But if they waive him, like I'm just curious, like, dude, don't they save some money off the cap? Like they don't have to, like, right? They save like 900,000, 750, $1 million. I don't know.
They save about $1.15 million.
If they waived them and they demoted him, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. Like I'm telling you, they're gonna do it. Like, and you brought up an interesting name in Heinen, like just because this management could be, they could be ruthless as well. It is what it is. But look at us, man. This is what happens when the Canucks lose 4 out of their last 6 home games. Just in general, just horrible at home. It's dark out here, and Beggsy and I giving all the credit to Gary Bettman, and that's crazy. Gary Bettman's like, no. That's how Gary Bettman can only save us. It's like, relax, okay? Come on. Demko's coming back soon. Besser's coming back soon. Sounds like it. We good. We good, baby.
All right. Well, let's cut to break here and talk a bit more about the salary cap situation. Maybe get some of your comments as well. And I do want to talk about some other potential options on defense as we start to flesh out this list of who the Canucks are going to acquire. Because again, I think they're making a move sooner rather than later. And again, I want to get that conversation going about who's going out the door. Let's keep it up on the other side, baby, after we shout out our friends over at Prize Picks and Game Time. All right, you know the deal, baby. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, there's one place to go, okay? And that is Prize Picks. They got over 10 million members, and they got billions of dollars in awarded winnings, okay? They've done it, okay? Round of applause. They've made daily fantasy sports accessible to you and you and you and even you. On Prize Picks, you can win up to 100 times your money. What? With as little as 4 correct picks, okay? I like betting on the Canucks, but you can bet on other things around the NHL too, okay? Will Connor McDavid get more or less than a goal in the next week, okay? What about Mason Marchment? That guy's averaging 3 points a game last week. Could Thatcher Demko potentially come back and pick up his first win of the season, okay? Cook up hot takes with your homies, and you can win all season long on Prize Picks, okay? Not only that, but if you sign up today on Prize Picks, you can get $50 instantly when you play, just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's time to run your game. You know the deal, baby. We're trying to make those $10 here on Locked On Canucks to afford tickets, man. Unbelievable. And if you're buying tickets for the Vancouver Canucks or anything else, you got to check out Game Time, okay? Not only that, but on Game Time, you can find tickets for concerts, comedy, events, theaters, and more. And Kyle, I'm not going to lie. I've been to one concert since COVID hit, and that was Elton John with my mom.
Wow.
Parent life makes it harder for me to go to concerts, but there's one coming up in May, and that I might pay tens, maybe even hundreds of dollars to go see, and it's Jack White, one of the best guitarists of our generation at the Commodore Ballroom. I couldn't believe it, man. So that's coming up in May.
I thought you were going to say Guns N' Roses, man. The reunion tour, the last one ever.
I'd rather see Jack White personally. Let me know in the comments. Are you Jack White or Guns N' Roses, man?
Avril Lavigne was in town a couple months ago. We should have gone to see her, man.
I noticed last night at the Canucks game, now we're getting off course here, but they played Promiscuous after the Rangers scored a goal, and I was like, damn, they really did Nelly like that, eh? I'm like, is it a good thing they're playing BC songs at the rink, or should they be playing Nelly when the times are good, man? I don't know. Maybe give your takes about that on the other side here, but for now, make sure you go check out Game Time. They get the new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite live events even easier, okay? And right now, Game Time is having an exclusive zone deal for the NHL Winter Classic at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Go to the Game Time app and purchase tickets to get 10% off bleacher seating and 20 to 25% off home plate area seats. So on Game Time, it's time to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Go down that Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code Locked On NHL for $20 off. Dial Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name is Kyle Bhawan. That right there is Trevor Beggs, the second best dad in the world. Okay, if you agree with that, hit the like button, okay? Speaking of being a dad, did it happen? Garland is a daddy? One love, sending the family love and peace. Hope it all goes well. And I took notes, and I'm about to have a conversation with my girlfriend about cutting the date short a little bit tonight. And I'm inspired by Connor Garland's effort, okay? If he can do it, I can do it too. Where am I going with this? Oh, yeah, more D targets, okay? Let's keep talking about the D. That's all Trevor Beggs likes to do. And this whole salary cap thing, you're thinking more about it. Keep elaborating.
Well, again, I think for the most part, we've been looking at guys like, Rasmus Anderson and guys who don't have term. And Kyle, let's talk about the name that's in the rumor mill today. I mean, we do like to poo-poo on Elliot Friedman and Frank Saravalli here for stirring the pot, but come on.
Who would win in a tag team battle? Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, in a Hell in a Cell, table, ladders, and chairs in the ring too. It's the most extreme match in WWE history. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs versus Frank Saravalli and Elliot Friedman. Let us know right now who's winning.
I'm taking Jack White's guitar and I'm smashing it over some heads. No, okay, that's violent, man. Elliot Friedman and Frank Saravalli, they're up there in the hockey world. And Frank Saravalli this morning on Vancouver radio suggested that Mike Matheson should be the best target for the Vancouver Canucks. So Mike Matheson, his cap hit and cap situation is very similar to Rasmus Anderson, okay? Rasmus Anderson, I believe, is about $4.7 million signed for this year and next. Mike Matheson at $4.8 million for this year and next. And the guy's been a points machine in Montreal. Defensive numbers, I mean, no one in Montreal has been good defensively, but Mike Matheson's been playing 24, 25 minutes a night for the Montreal Canadiens. Again, a very young defense there, and he's trying to be a leader. I like Mike Matheson as a player. Obviously, Canuck fans know well. He, slammed Pettersson to the ice in one of his first NHL games. Not sure if there's some bad blood there, but Kyle, what are your thoughts on 30-year-old left shot Mike Matheson as a trade target for the Vancouver Canucks?
The first thought is, could you get him for like a second-round pick and Niels Höglander or something? Like, is that like I feel like that's the max capital.
I think so. I think so.
That's one of the things, because again, just hold on to your first-round pick this season, considering a lot of factors, okay, surrounding this team, injuries, all that jazz. I've seen him play actually a lot of games because Montreal's always on TV, and I'm not gonna front. I feel like Montreal's the second, like as far as hockey games I watch, Montreal's definitely, I feel like, second on that list. Because I just like seeing games at the Bell Center. I go out of my way, just to experience it, because I feel as if it's completely different than any other environment. Again, I haven't been to the Bell Center, but just even on TV, it just feels different. So I like watching them, and I don't know Matheson's analytical data and how good he is in his defensive zone. I don't know if he's a turnover machine type of guy, because this team really needs like a Chris Tanev, not type player, but as far as being as efficient of getting the puck out, right, not making mistakes. Because on the other end, what I've seen from Mike Matheson pretty much day in and day out is like he's good at he's good offensively. He's good. He's a decent skater. He can make things happen. He's an upgrade over how Carson Soucy is looking right now. And right now, the Canucks need an upgrade over that. They don't need to. It's so sad because a couple of weeks ago, like we were desperate to replace Vincent Desharnais, and we didn't have an Eric Brännström. It was like, who's 5 or 6? We need to grab more depth. Like real guys at number 5 and 6, but now it's like, yo, we actually need a number 3 defenseman. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But to me, it's not even that crazy, man. It's like what I've been calling all along. And Carson Soucy's never played in that role before. It's interesting, kind of looking at the analytical data here. Again, Mike Matheson plays on a very bad Montreal Canadiens team.
Yeah.
He's faced some of the toughest competition in the NHL. Like his quality of competition is like up there in like the tops in the NHL. Like Carson Soucy and Tyler Myers have been playing against the toughest competition on a nightly basis. But they're kind of in that like 76th, 77th percentile overall in the NHL. So, I mean, Mike Matheson playing tougher competition. So his defensive numbers look worse than Soucy and Myers, but he brings the offensive punch, right? Soucy and Myers are a black hole offensively. They can't move the puck up the ice. Whereas Mike Matheson, I think, is prone to more errors, but at least he moves the puck up the ice and gets on the score sheet. And again, now I know I said at first, Höglander in a second might get it done, but I think this guy's going to be in demand around the NHL.
Yeah.
I know he plays on the left side, but again, if you could get him at that Höglander in a second value, I mean, that's probably a pretty good spot to be if you're the Vancouver Canucks. But yeah, I think the Montreal Canadiens, I mean, this is a guy that hit 60 points. Was it last season hit 60 points? I mean, I think it's going to be a valuable commodity. I like the player.
And the cap hit. Cap hit's not bad.
The cap is not bad. At this point, like, you just want to bump both Soucy and Myers on the lineup. That's the big issue.
You know what? At this point, Trevor, in this very moment, because I brought up his name, and let's just go into this, okay? Before our break, just speak from the soul and speak from the heart, okay? I know you're supposed to stay in the present, but let's just go into past. Did the Canucks make a huge mistake by not, quote unquote, overpaying for Chris Tanev? Because if they brought Chris Tanev to Vancouver and did their thing and just buckled up and convinced him that this was the place, at least they would have the option in moving things around in their decor without worrying about chemistry. So much so, right? And Hughes seems like such a habitual guy that, again, he demanded to still play with Hronek, right? Going to the media and just taking a shot. It's like, yo, keep me with Hronek. I don't know if he would be so firm on that at times throughout the season if another option was to play with Chris Tanev.
Yeah, and it's again, the chemistry is such a funny thing, right? And I look at the Vancouver Canucks, and if they were going to acquire a guy like Mike Matheson, it's like, who's going to play with him? Like, is Tyler Myers staying on the second pair and playing beside Mike Matheson, and you push Carson Soucy down? It's like, to me, that's still not a great situation. Kyle, maybe on the other side, let's
no, you're right. You're right. You nailed it. I don't want to see that pairing. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, dude.
Kyle, I think to wrap up on the other side, I want to do two things. I want to get to a few comments. There's some interesting ones here in the comments about Matheson and other things we talked about in this episode. The other one is, let's check out our new pairs to the Vancouver Canucks, because I have an idea I want to throw by you about how the Canucks can get away from Soucy and Myers and potentially improve this defense. I think my take might be a little bit bold.
Could you do me a favor too after the break? Like, I know you only got a couple minutes. Like, just read me out some Chris Tanev analytical data, okay, before you jet to go back to work, okay? Because I want to feed my ears.
Okay, sounds good, buddy. We'll be back on the other side after you shout out our friends over at FanDuel. All right, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place, baby. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And take that $5 bet and place it on the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals on Sunday. Let's go, baby. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Do us a favor, if you got this far into the video, hit the like button, make our holidays a lot better, okay? And before you know it, I'm about to be 32, and a like can go a long way. Hey, speaking of going a long way, bro, what happened to us, man? We lose a couple games here and there, boom, man, a lot of injuries. We're not talking about the effort last night in the third period, doing their best with the depleted lineup. We're over here giving, putting all of our fate into Gary Bettman and talking about Chris Tanev. Like, what's going on today, Trevor?
Oh, look, I think at the end of the day, for me, it's not necessarily darkness, but the losing. I mean, you called the Nashville loss the best loss this season. I called the Rangers loss the best loss this season. I think we're pretty optimistic, but we know that this team needs to add a defenseman to improve. And to add a defenseman, that's probably going to come with some term, unless they target a younger guy, which is something else we also have teed up for a potential episode. They're going to have to move guys with salary cap hits. I mean, unless they make a move at the deadline and they've accrued all the space, which they might do. But if they make a trade now, they're going to have to trade more than just Nose Höglander to get under the salary cap.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man.
But
things. For now, we're stuck with the defense that the Canucks currently have. And Kyle, I wanted to toss this idea out to you, and just thinking about how the Canucks could potentially improve their defense moving forward. How do you feel about potentially having Eric Brandstrom and Quinn Hughes on the same pair? I know you got two smaller guys. You got two incredibly quick puck movers. You got a Norris winner up there. And to me, I don't know, it might be one possibility to solve the Canucks defensive issues here.
Damn, I would do that in Ottawa. I would, dude. That'd be funny as hell. I feel that Brandstrom's about to put on a show in Ottawa. I really do. Another pivotal moment in his career. Honestly, you could just put Quinn Hughes with anyone, but just make sure that guy can pass Quinn Hughes the puck. And uh, to kind of disconnect off this point to make another that's kind of relative to again, can you speak from your heart again and just tell us why we need Hronek and Hughes split up ASAP? Like and like I was never on this boat. I'm like, keep the friends together. This dude won the Norris with them, keep them together. But now I'm getting a little frustrated, and I'm like, dude, Hronek, just carry your own damn pair. We need you right now, okay? You're getting paid a lot of money. We put a lot of faith into you, right? We traded Horvat for you. Just show us something, okay? Show us something alone. Like, do your thing, because we need your help. We need you to be the savior right now.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's making $7.25 million, and I didn't have it in front of me on one of these other pages here, but he's up there with one of the highest paid right shot D in the NHL. He's in the top 20. I don't have it in front, like I'm trying to count this list, but he's somewhere around like the 15th or 16th highest paid right shot defenseman in the NHL. And look, he's again, I think Andrew makes a good point in the comments here, saying split Roney and Huggy. He's been saying that for a while, and all Hronek does is pass Quinn Hughes the puck. And look, I think it's a good thing that they have chemistry and they know where each other is. But Hronek's a big boy, making some big dollars. I think it's time for Philip Hronek to carry his own pair, especially because the Canucks defense has been so porous. I mean, look, we've been ripping on Soucy and Myers, and I see some comments here about Infamous saying he's sure he's not alone in this opinion, but Myers and Soucy aren't nearly as bad as everyone makes them out to be. But he agrees that they should split them up. Look, Noah Juleson as well. When I look at game score, Noah Juleson, for the handful of games he played for the Canucks, is the second worst game score in the entire NHL so far. Only Pierre-Olivier Joseph of the St. Louis Blues has been worse than Noah Juleson. So as much as we pump his tires and say he makes good plays, he does make a lot of turnovers as well and tends to get burned. So this isn't just a Soucy and Myers problem. It's an entirety of the Canucks defense problem. And look, I'm putting this problem on
Philip Hronek. I'm putting this problem on Philip Hronek now, man. It's time. Like everyone's got to step up. This guy talked about, everyone's got to bring a little 5% more FU. Everyone's got to, carry the load and replace, what's missing in this lineup. And man, we spent a lot of time yesterday ranting about Jake DeBrusk, and just do something. Do something. Like, we need you right now. And right now we need Hronek to do something completely different than just looking good with Quinn Hughes. I'm not roasting him. I'm just saying the predicament is different right now. And it's bad right now. And Trevor just talked about, the Canucks don't even have a lot of cap space to make the big type of move they need to make to help that decor. And if they do, they got to get rid of forwards and whatnot. And that's like another problem. It's like, dude, how about we just get Hronek to step up here?
I completely agree with you, Kyle. And look, I think my thought about the defense is, maybe if Forbort's back in the lineup, maybe you put Brandstrom up with Quinn Hughes. Again, the guy deserves more of a shot, and he's getting his ice time is increasing. Soucy's ice time is decreasing. We're already seeing this happen with the Vancouver Canucks. But maybe give Brandstrom a shot with the guy who can pass the puck, unlike, Noah Juleson, right? So maybe if Forbort's in the lineup, I'm saying put Brandstrom with Hughes. If Forbort's not in the lineup, maybe have Brandstrom with Philip Hronek and do Myers and Hughes, Brandstrom and Hronek, and have Soucy on the third pair. He played a lot in the preseason with Desharnais or Juleson. So I don't know. I just think it's time for Soucy to go back to the third pair. I don't love Myers on the first pair, but at the end of the day, it's an imperfect defense until the Canucks make a trade, which is why I kicked off the show talking about who are we going to trade off this roster to improve this defense today.
Unreal. Okay, Beggsy, go back to work. I don't want you to get in trouble. Do your thing. I'll finish the episode off with some comments from the people. One love to you. Take care. And relax, okay? Breathe a little, man. Giving all the credit to Gary Bettman. Like, who are you, man? Don't sell your soul, buddy.
I gave him the credit until he said, well, it's none of those numbers aren't accurate. So again, even when you try to give Gary Bettman credit for once, all he does is weasel his way out of it, man. And I'm weaseling my way out of the show. Peace.
Peace. Okay. We doing this. We're going to read some comments before we get out of here. Look at this comment from Andrew. This is a cool one, okay? He thinks Noah Juleson's biggest problem is him sitting out too much, okay? So I think what Andrew is trying to say that is a couple of things, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm making a lot of sense too, okay? Noah Juleson is better than Vincent Desharnais. He is. And I know you're paying Vincent Desharnais the big bucks, but prior to Juleson being consistent in the lineup based on, Desharnais being hurt and whatnot, like it should have been the obvious move, right? Play Juleson over Vincent Desharnais, and also we didn't need Vincent Desharnais because we had Noah Juleson. Again, not the perfect player, but pretty good for a number 7 defenseman, right? And you're replacing that number 7 defenseman with another number 7 defenseman. It's like, why? Now you got him playing less games, and now he's thrown in the fire, and there's not a lot of warming up. And again, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get going. And that's why I think for Noah Juleson, I mean, like, again, the game scores are not looking good for him, but the eye test for me is showing me that he struggles pretty badly in the first periods, and then he kind of gets better throughout the game. And as Andrew is saying, when he plays more, he plays better. Look at this comment from Callum. Okay, where was DeBrusk yesterday? A lot of comments about Jake DeBrusk. Right? And we know the floor to Jake DeBrusk's game is neutral. He's not going to hurt you, but when you give him that much faith, right, a 7-year deal at that dollar amount, and you're asking him to, at the bare minimum, be better than Ilya Mikheyev, Don't look like him. Okay, don't get close to scoring goals. Bang some in, okay? 3 goals through 18 games. I'm pretty sure Ilya Mikheyev has 2. I also saw this from Ryan Henderson, right? Through 18 games last year, Jake DeBrusk had 3 goals with the Bruins. And again, he has 3 goals with the Canucks right now. And maybe he needs to be this guy. Then he takes some time to get going, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But right now, this team, based on who they don't have, really, really needs you to be more effective, score more goals, and at the bare minimum, look more engaged. Be a bit more of the FU that is missing from this team. You bring that in April and May. I get it. That's what we're all waiting for. Congratulations. But things are a little different right now, and the Canucks need you to be a bit more. Be the FU. Replace JT Miller just a bit. Look, Pettersson gets what? Domed in the head with a stupid elbow from Brendan Schneider, if I'm saying that right, from the Rangers yesterday. Just a careless play by that dude. The game was kind of loose there, right? In parts of the second period, a little chippy. Those things happen. It's hockey. It's the most dangerous sport in the game. But if Pettersson's taking that elbow and you're right in front of the guy and you're face to face with them a couple seconds later, do something. Do something. Especially if you're not scoring, man. Make it seem like it's the playoffs just a bit. The team really needs Jake DeBrusk. Who wants the next comment, okay? Before we get out of here. Look at Mike, man. He's saying Brandstrom and Hronek should play together, and Susie and Myers as your third pairing. Is that what you're saying? I don't even know if I want them to be a third pairing. I know they'd get lesser competition, and that's when, both those guys shine. Right? They do their thing, but I don't even trust those guys against weaker competition. That is just the truth. It's one of those times, man. I'm really glad we had this conversation because we just talked a lot about Philip Hronek stepping up, and that to me is that's what this was all about. And the answer is right in front of us. Try that out before you make a drastic move. That makes the most sense in the world, and that's splitting up Hronek and Hughes and demanding Hronek do a lot more. Let's get out of here, though, okay? My name's Kyle Bound. Yes, my name's Kyle Bound, and I approve of this message. One love to the Doto's Art Lab for doing its thing and keeping us at tabs with the West Coast bias, right? We look after our neighbors here on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, hit the like button and subscribe to the show. It does really help us all out a lot. And have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. If you're not watching this on YouTube Live, then we don't know when you're watching this or listening to this. But hey, we just want you to know we appreciate it. Peace.